The oncology ward's waiting room was a cold, sterile purgatory, its fluorescent lights humming like a distant swarm of bees. I sat slumped in a hard plastic chair, my body a battlefield ravaged by 6 months of stage 3 lymphoma and the chemotherapy that came with it. My hands shook as I gripped a worn tissue, the hospital's antiseptic scent clinging to my nostrils. I was Michael Harper, a man who'd once prided himself on a quiet life, now reduced to a bald, gaunt shadow fighting for Sir V.Y. Val. Then she appeared, Lillian Voss, the Homeowners Association president who ruled our suburban enclave like a petty despot. Her heels clicked ominously on the linoleum, her face twisted with rage. "You think you can destroy me, Michael?" she hissed, looming over me. "Your little cancer story won't save you from the consequences." Before I could respond, she leaned in, her eyes burning with contempt, and spat in my face. The room froze. Her saliva clung to my cheek, a V.Y. Lewis salt that, for an immunocompromised patient like me, was more than disgusting. It was a potential death sentence. A nurse's shout for security shattered the silence, and as chaos erupted, I knew this wasn't just about neighborhood rules anymore. This was personal. 6 months earlier, I was a different man, levying in Crestwood Pines, a suburban haven of manicured lawns and cookie-cutter homes. A high school history teacher, I'd carved out a modest life in my 2-story colonial, content to blend into the background. That all changed when my doctor delivered the blow: lymphoma. Stage 3. Chemo became my new reality, a grueling cycle of nausea, fatigue, and hospital stays that left me hollow. But while I fought for my life, a different war brewed in Crestwood Pines, led by Lillian Voss, the HOA president who wielded bylaws like a guillotine. Lillian was a suburban stereotype brought to life, mid-40s, with a sharp blonde bob, designer cardigans, and a smile as warm as a January wind. Nicknamed the Empress by whispering neighbors, she'd ruled Crestwood Pines for 5 years, enforcing rules so obscure they seemed designed to humiliate. A mailbox painted the wrong shade of beige, a hedge trimmed a fraction too low, a car parked too long in a drive while Lillian's watchful eyes missed nothing. I'd stayed off her radar by keeping my lawn pristine and my decorations minimal, but cancer doesn't respect HOA standards. When treatments began, my priorities shifted from grass height to serve V.Y. Val, and Lillian pounced. The first violation notice arrived 3 weeks in chemo, taped to my door like a public shaming. Lawn exceeds 3-inch height limit. Rectify within 48 hours or face fines. I've been hospitalized with a fever and dangerously low white blood cells, too weak to even shower, let alone mow. I called the HOA office, expecting a shred of compassion. Lillian's voice was syrupy with false sympathy. "Mr. Harper, I'm sorry about your condition," she said, the pause dripping with disdain. "But the bylaws don't bend for personal issues. Crestwood Pines has standards." I gripped the phone, fighting nausea. "Lillian, I've been in the hospital. I have cancer. Isn't there a hardship clause?" Her reply was ice cold. "Rules apply to everyone. Hire a Sir VYC if you can't keep up. I could suggest a few, though they charge extra for neglected properties." The word neglected stung, and I hung up, too drained to argue. That was my first taste of Lillian's cruelty, but it wasn't the last. The violations kept coming as chemo sapped my strength. My trash can sat out too long on pickup day violation. My fall wreath was seasonally inappropriate in November violation. My car lingered in the driveway during a hospital stay violation. Each notice carried a fine, small at first, but mounting quickly, adding financial strain to my already crushing medical bills. I tried reasoning with Lillian, but she was immovable, her smugness growing with each call. "Property values don't care about your health, Mr. Harper," she'd say, as if I'd chosen cancer to spite her. My neighbors helped where they could. The Garcias next door mowed my lawn, and old Mr. Hensley across the street hauled in my trash cans. But Lillian was relentless, her silver SUV prowling past my house daily, phone in hand to document my failures. I noticed other homes with similar issues: overgrown grass. VY Cybele bins went unpunished. Lillian wasn't just enforcing rules. She was targeting me, a sick man too weak to fight back. The tipping point came 4 months into treatment. I'd lost 20 pounds and my body a stranger to me. I was shuffling back from the community mailboxes, leaning on a cane, when Lillian's SUV pulled up. Her window lowered, revealing her signature scowl. "Mr. Harper, your garden beds are full of dead plants," she said sharply. "That VY OLAT Section 12, Paragraph 4 of the Landscaping Ordinance." I stared, my chemo fog brain struggling. "Lillian, those are perennials. They're dormant for fall. They'll bloom in spring." She tapped her nails on the steering wheel. "They look dead, and that's unacceptable. You'll get a notice today. Replace them within 3 days." Exhaustion gave way to defiance. I was done with her tyranny. "I'm not doing that, Lillian," I said calmly. "And I think I'll re-VYEW the bylaws myself, especially the parts about harassment and selective enforcement." Her face flushed crimson. "Are you threatening me?" she snapped. "I'm protecting our community's value." I shrugged, the effort draining. "I'm just noting that my house is the only one getting violations for perennials when half the street has them. Maybe someone should look into that." Her mouth opened, then closed, a flicker of doubt in her eyes. "You'll regret this," she muttered, speeding off with a squeal of tires. I shuffled home, weary but resolute. I thought my stand might slow her down, but Lillian escalated. She called an emergency HOA meeting to discuss properties in medical hardship and the risks of bending rules. Her slideshow of violations, mostly photos of my home, my address barely blurred, made her target clear. I attended, feeling like death, and sat in the back of the community center, my bald head under a cap. Lillian stood at the podium, her voice thick with fake concern. "If we make exceptions for one person," she said, clicking through images of my offending lawn, "where does it stop? Illness today, laziness tomorrow. Our standards protect our investments." The room tensed. Then Maria Garcia, my neighbor, stood. "We should be helping neighbors in crisis," she said firmly. "Maybe a program to support people like Michael, who's fighting cancer." Lillian's smile tightened. "The HOA isn't a charity, Maria." Hand shot up, and Lillian's control slipped. Desperate, she made a fatal error. "Let's be honest," she said, voice rising. "If someone can't maintain their property, maybe they don't belong in Crestwood Pines." The room went silent, her allies VY Sibley shocked. I stood, legs trembling. "My situation, Lillian, is cancer," I said, my voice hoarse but steady. "Yet you've issued me 15 violations in 4 months, while my neighbors with identical issues get none." "What?" Eyes turned to me, then Lillian, who faltered. The meeting erupted, neighbors voicing support for me and outrage at Lillian. A motion to re-VYEW her conduct was raised, set for the next meeting. I left, hoping for peace. I was wrong. 2 days later, I sat in the oncology waiting room, awaiting my infusion. The room was quiet, filled with weary patients. I sent someone over me and looked up to find Lillian, her face red with fury. "You humiliated me," she whispered, voice shaking. "I've spent years building Crestwood Pines, and you're ruining it with your cancer sob story." I blinked, stunned. "Lillian, this is a hospital. I'm here for chemo. This isn't the place." Her eyes narrowed. "Don't play VY Tim. You're turning everyone against me." A nurse approached, sensing trouble, but before she could act, Lillian leaned closer. "You want to be the martyr? Fine." Then she spat in my face. Chaos erupted. The nurse yelled for security, rushing to me with sanitizing wipes. "She assaulted a chemo patient," she shouted. 2 guards seized Lillian, who was now pale, realizing her mistake. "He provoked me," she stammered, but the nurse held up a tablet. "It's on camera." The footage was undeniable. As staff checked me for infection risks, or spit could be lethal to me. Security took Lillian away. Police arrested her for felony assault on a vulnerable person, the hospital's cameras sealing her fate. The charge was serious, given my medical state. 2 weeks later, I sat in court, watching Lillian's downfall. The polished HOA tyrant was gone, replaced by a disheveled woman in a creased blazer. The judge sentenced her. A DULA, 4,000 fine, 12 months of probation, 150 hours of community service at a cancer nonprofit, and a restraining order barring her from me or my home. The felony con VY tie-in would haunt her forever. The consequences piled on. Her employer, a luxury real estate firm, fired her immediately, citing their ethics clause. Then came the HOA's final blow, a unanimous vote to remove her as president and board member. Lillian clutched the notice, her eyes meeting mine across the courtroom, her empire in ruins. Crestwood Pines began to heal. Maria Garcia, the new president, started a neighbor assistance program funded by Lillian's fines. My neighbors rallied, bringing meals and tending my yard. My latest scans showed progress, and hope flickered anew. Sitting on my porch one evening, I reflected on Lillian. Her need for control had destroyed her, but I felt no joy in her Fallonly relief. Crestwood Pines was my home again, and I was free to focus on my fight one day at a time. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.